The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Earth Alliance Space Corps vessel ES Horizon. Lieutenant Commander Alan Wright stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the approaching lights of the alien diplomatic ship. It was bigger than anything humans had ever built, nearly 5 times the size of their own vessel. "They're hailing us again," Communications Officer Lisa Bell said from her station. Her voice was calm, but Alan could see the tension in her shoulders. "Put them through," he replied. The screen flickered to life, showing the now familiar face of Ambassador Zortak. The alien had silvery skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights of their ship. Their eyes were large, solid black orbs that never blinked. "Lieutenant Commander," the alien said, the universal translator making their words understandable but not hiding the tone of superiority. "We will dock with your vessel in 30 of your Earth minutes. The Galactic Hegemony delegation is prepared to begin formal introductions." "We are honored, Ambassador," Alan said, using the diplomatic phrases Admiral Susan Grant had drilled into him during training. "Earth looks forward to joining the galactic community." The alien's mouth stretched in what might have been a smile, but looked more like a grimace. "Yes. We are all very excited to welcome such a young species." The screen went dark. "They don't sound excited," Lisa muttered. Alan sighed. "No, they don't. 3 months ago, the massive ships of the Galactic Hegemony had appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. They had bypassed all of humanity's early warning systems and simply announced their presence. After decades of wondering if they were alone in the universe, humans had their answer. The initial messages had been friendly. The hegemony claimed to represent 17 advanced civilizations that governed this section of the galaxy. They invited Earth to send representatives to discuss joining their alliance. Earth's governments had scrambled to put together a diplomatic mission. The EAS Horizon was Earth's newest and most advanced ship, at least officially. It used a combination of chemical propulsion and limited fusion technology. Nothing fancy by galactic standards, as they would soon learn. "All personnel prepare for diplomatic reception," Alan announced over the ship-wide system. "Remember your training. Show respect, but maintain dignity." The crew of 50 moved with practiced efficiency. They had rehearsed this moment countless times during their journey to the meeting point near Jupiter's orbit. Captain Frank Daniels joined Alan on the observation deck. As the mission commander, he would lead the formal introductions. "Ready for this, right?" he asked quietly. "As ready as we can be, sir," Alan replied. "Though I'm getting the feeling this might not go as smoothly as we hoped." Frank nodded. Admiral Grant suspected as much. "Remember your secondary mission objectives." Alan touched the insignia on his uniform briefly. Hidden inside was the most advanced piece of technology on the ship, a subspace communicator that Earth wasn't supposed to have yet. "Understood, sir." The docking procedure went smoothly. The hegemony ship extended a pressurized walkway that connected with the EAS Horizon's main airlock. The human delegation waited in their formal dress uniforms. When the doors finally opened, 7 different alien species entered. They varied in size and shape, but all carried themselves with the same air of superiority. Ambassador Zortak led the group. "Welcome aboard the ES Horizon," Captain Daniels said formally. The ambassador's eyes scanned the corridor. "Such primitive construction," he said, not bothering to hide his disdain. "Aluminum alloys and titanium? Do you not have access to proper quantum-stabilized materials?" Captain Daniels kept his diplomatic smile. "We work with what we have, Ambassador." "Clearly," another alien said. This one resembled a tall humanoid squid. "High Commander Kuv," it introduced itself, "Head of Hegemony Defense Forces." The tour of the ship continued in the same manner. At each stop, the aliens found something new to criticize. "You still use visible light displays?" Zortak laughed when they reached the bridge. "Not even basic neural interfaces? Your engines are based on nuclear fusion?" High Commander Kuv shook his head. "We abandoned such inefficient methods thousands of years ago." By the time they reached the conference room, Alan was struggling to maintain his composure. The aliens weren't just unimpressed, they were openly mocking human technology. "Please be seated," Captain Daniels said, gesturing to the table. The aliens looked at the chairs with visible disgust but sat down anyway. "Now," Ambassador Zortok said, placing a small device in the center of the table. It projected a holographic image of the galaxy. "Let us discuss Earth's position within the hegemony hierarchy." Alan leaned forward slightly. This was what they had come for, to understand humanity's place in the galactic community. "As you can see," the ambassador continued, zooming in on a tiny section of the spiral arm. "Your solar system is here. Your civilization has barely begun to explore your own planetary neighborhood." He made a dismissive gesture. "Based on our evaluation of your technological development, Earth would qualify as a Tier 7 civilization." "What does Tier 7 mean?" Captain Daniels asked. High Commander Cuve made a sound that the translator didn't catch but clearly wasn't. "Friendly. It means you require supervision and protection. Your resources would be managed by more advanced members of the hegemony for your own good." Alan's heart sank. This wasn't an invitation to join as equals. It was a thinly veiled colonization attempt. "I see," Captain Daniels said carefully. "And what would Earth receive in return for the protection?" "Limited access to some Tier 6 technologies," Ambassador Zortok said. "Over time, perhaps a century or two, you might advance to Tier 6 yourselves." One of the other aliens, a being made of what looked like living crystal, chimed in. "Your species has potential. Your biological composition shows interesting adaptability. With proper guidance, humans could become useful members of the hegemony. Useful. Not equal partners. Not respected allies. Useful." Alan caught Captain Daniels' subtle nod. It was time to activate their backup plan. "Ambassador," Alan said, standing up, "would you be willing to share details about hegemony defense systems? If Earth is to be protected, we should understand the technologies involved." The question was innocent enough, but it was designed to get the aliens talking about their military capabilities. Information that would be very valuable. "Of course," High Commander Cuve said eagerly, clearly enjoying the chance to demonstrate superiority. "Our smallest patrol vessels could neutralize your entire planet's defenses without difficulty." As the alien began describing hegemony weapon systems in detail, Alan discreetly activated the hidden communicator in his insignia. The signal would travel instantly to Earth through subspace, a technology the hegemony believed humans didn't possess. The message was simple. Protocol Thunderhead is a go. Back on Earth, General Olivia Reeves would receive that message and understand. The hegemony wasn't here for peaceful cooperation. They saw Earth as a resource to be harvested, humans as a species to be controlled. But they had made a crucial mistake. They had underestimated humanity. As Alan listened to the aliens mock human technology, a small smile touched his lips. The EAS Horizon was a decoy, deliberately designed to appear primitive. The real Earth defense fleet remained hidden, preparing for the moment when humanity would show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. That moment was coming soon. General Olivia Reeves stood in the underground command center beneath Yellowstone National Park. The massive room buzzed with activity as military personnel moved between workstations with purpose. Giant screens covered the walls, showing different views of Earth's solar system. "Signal confirmed, General," reported Communications Officer Jack Wilson. "Lieutenant Commander Wright has activated Protocol Thunderhead." Olivia nodded, her face grim but determined. "So the hegemony is exactly what we feared." "Yes, ma'am. They're describing us as a Tier 7 civilization. They want to put us under their protection." Colonel Steve Harris, head of military intelligence, snorted. "Protection, just a fancy word for control." "How long until the Horizon completes its mission?" Olivia asked. "Lieutenant Commander Wright needs at least 6 more hours to gather all the technical data we need," Jack replied. Olivia turned to the central planning table, where a holographic map showed the positions of the hegemony ships. "Then we give him 6 hours. In the meantime, launch the scout drones. I want eyes on every alien vessel." "Yes, General. 50 years ago, everything had changed for humanity. A scout ship from an unknown alien civilization had crashed in the Arctic Circle. The governments of Earth had kept it secret, forming the Earth Defense Alliance, an organization dedicated to preparing for the day when aliens would make official contact. The crashed ship had given humans access to advanced technology, faster than light, travel, energy shields, weapons beyond anything they had imagined before. But most importantly, it had given them warning. The ship's record spoke of the galactic hegemony, a group of advanced civilizations that explored the galaxy looking for new worlds to bring under their control. Instead of announcing these discoveries, Earth's leaders had made a bold decision. They would continue to develop their official space program at a normal pace, while secretly building a hidden fleet. When the hegemony eventually found Earth, humans would appear less advanced than they truly were. The plan had worked perfectly. The hegemony had arrived and seen exactly what humans wanted them to see: a young civilization with limited technology. They never suspected that Earth had been preparing for this moment for decades. "Status report on the fleet," Olivia ordered. Major Ben Reed responded from his station. "The Thunderhead and 26 other vessels are in position behind the moon, stealth systems active. The Neptune group reports all 15 ships are powered up and ready. And our ground defenses? All planetary shield generators are on standby. We can have full coverage in 90 seconds if needed." Olivia nodded with satisfaction. Humanity was ready. Now they just needed the intelligence that Alan Wright was gathering aboard the alien diplomatic vessel. In her office adjacent to the command center, Olivia reviewed the latest reports. The door opened and Admiral Susan Grant walked in. As the head of the Earth Defense Alliance, she outranked even Olivia. "The President has been briefed," Susan said, taking a seat across from Olivia. "All major world leaders are standing by for updates." "And they all agree with the plan?" Olivia asked. Susan nodded. "No one wants to become a hegemony puppet state. If they're here to colonize us, we need to show strength from the beginning. Captain Kyle Winters reports the Thunderhead is at full combat readiness," Olivia said, sliding a tablet across the desk. "All weapon systems checked and double-checked." Susan reviewed the information. "I hope we don't need to use them. But the hegemony needs to understand that Earth won't be pushed around." Back on the ES horizon, Alan Wright was carefully extracting information from the alien delegation. The hegemony representatives were eager to show off their advanced technology, not realizing they were giving away valuable secrets. "Your propulsion systems are so limited," Ambassador Zortak said, as they toured the engine room of the human ship. "You still rely on reaction mass. Our ships use gravimetric drives that bend space itself." "That sounds impressive," Alan replied, his hidden communicator recording every word. "How does that work?" The ambassador launched into a detailed explanation, clearly enjoying the chance to demonstrate his superior knowledge. He even used the holographic projector to show schematics of hegemony engine designs. High Commander Cuve was equally willing to discuss hegemony weapons technology. "Your projectile weapons are so primitive," the squid-like alien said dismissively. "We use focused energy beams that can pierce any material you can create." "How do you prevent overheating?" Alan asked innocently. Again, the alien provided detailed information, never suspecting that these simple humans might be gathering intelligence. In the Horizon's mess hall, Alan met with Captain Daniels while the alien delegation rested in their quarters. "They're giving us everything," Alan said quietly. "Shield frequencies, weapon specifications, even their communications protocols." "Good work," the captain replied. "Keep them talking. Remember, we need to understand their command structure too. Find out who makes the decisions in their fleet." Alan nodded. "From what I can tell, High Commander Cuve has direct control over their military vessels. Ambassador Zortak seems to handle political matters but defers to Cuve on security issues." "That fits with what we expected," Captain Daniels said. "A divided command structure gives us an advantage. They're planning a military demonstration tomorrow," Alan added. 7 of their warships will perform maneuvers near Jupiter. They want to show us how powerful they are." "Perfect. That will give us exactly what we need." Back on Earth, General Olivia Reeves received the latest transmission from the ES Horizon. The technical data was flowing in steadily. "Run this through the tactical computer," she ordered. "I want to know every weakness in their systems." Colonel Harris nodded. "Already on it, ma'am. Their shield technology is impressive but has clear vulnerabilities. Their ships generate a massive energy signature when they fire their main weapons. They have to temporarily lower shields to prevent feedback. Can we exploit that?" "Absolutely. The Thunderhead's targeting systems can lock on during that split-second window." Major Reed approached with another update. "General, we've completed analysis of their communication systems. They use a type of quantum entanglement, but it's an older version of the technology we developed from the crashed ship. We can intercept and possibly disrupt their transmissions." Olivia allowed herself a small smile. "So in some ways, our technology might actually be more advanced than theirs?" "Yes, ma'am. They've grown complacent. They haven't faced a real challenge in centuries." In the lunar military base, Captain Kyle Winters prepared his crew aboard the Thunderhead. The massive warship was the pride of Earth's hidden fleet, a marvel of human engineering combined with reverse-engineered alien technology. "All systems check complete, Captain," reported his executive officer, Commander Diane Russell. "The entire fleet reports ready status." Kyle nodded as he examined the tactical display. "Make sure all stealth systems are at maximum efficiency. We can't risk detection until the right moment." The Thunderhead was hiding in plain sight. Its advanced stealth technology bent light around the massive vessel, making it completely invisible to conventional sensors. The same technology concealed heat signatures, energy emissions, and even gravimetric distortions. "How's the crew holding up?" Kyle asked. "Eager, sir," Diane replied. "They've trained for this moment for years. Everyone understands what's at stake." What was at stake was nothing less than humanity's future. If Earth submitted to the hegemony now, they would be locked into a subservient role for generations, possibly centuries. But if they demonstrated their true strength, they could negotiate as equals. As the clock ticked down, preparations continued on all fronts. The trap was set. Soon, the galactic hegemony would learn that humans were not to be underestimated, and when the Thunderhead finally revealed itself, the galaxy would never be the same. The third day of the diplomatic mission began with tension in the air. Lieutenant Commander Alan Wright stood at attention as the alien delegation filed into the conference room of the EAS Horizon. His hidden communicator had transmitted valuable intelligence back to Earth throughout the night. Now it was almost time for the next phase of the plan. "Good morning, Ambassador." Captain Daniels greeted Zortak with practiced politeness. The silver-skinned alien nodded slightly. "Captain, we have prepared a special demonstration for you today." His black eyes gleamed with what Alan recognized as pride. "The Hegemony Council feels it would be beneficial for Earth representatives to understand the full extent of our military capabilities." "We appreciate the opportunity," Captain Daniels replied smoothly. "My crew is eager to observe." High Commander Kuv moved forward, manipulating a small device in his tentacle-like hand. A three-dimensional hologram appeared above the conference table, showing Jupiter and its moons. 7 of our warships will perform combat maneuvers in this area, the alien commander explained. "It will help you understand the protection we can offer your planet." Alan caught the subtle emphasis on the word protection. It wasn't about defending Earth. It was about showing what would happen if Earth resisted. "The demonstration will begin in 1 hour," Ambassador Zortak announced. "We invite your senior officers to join us on our command vessel for the best viewing opportunity." Captain Daniels exchanged a quick glance with Alan. This was exactly what they had hoped for, a chance to board the Hegemony flagship. "We would be honored," the captain said. 30 minutes later, a small group of human officers boarded the alien command ship. The difference in technology was immediately apparent. The Hegemony vessel's interior was sleek and advanced, with corridors that seemed to shift and adjust as they walked. "Your primitive vessel must feel very cramped compared to ours, Ambassador," Zortak commented as he led them to the observation deck. "We make do with what we have," Alan replied, carefully recording every detail of the alien ship through his hidden technology. The observation deck was a massive space with transparent walls that offered a 360-degree view of space. Jupiter loomed, large in the distance, its swirling clouds and famous red spot clearly visible. "Our demonstration begins," High Commander Kuv announced with obvious pride. 7 hegemony warships appeared from behind one of Jupiter's moons. They moved in perfect formation, executing complex maneuvers that would have been impossible for Earth's official space fleet. Energy weapons fired, creating brilliant beams of light that danced between the vessels in a choreographed display. "Impressive," Captain Daniels commented. "Those are merely training weapons," the squid-like commander said dismissively. "At full power, a single shot could destroy your largest city." Alan watched the demonstration with apparent awe, but his mind was racing. The hegemony ships were broadcasting their shield frequencies, weapons data, and command codes during the exercise. It was all being captured by his hidden communicator. Back on Earth, General Olivia Reeves watched the incoming data stream with satisfaction. "They're practically giving us their playbook," she muttered to Admiral Susan Grant, who stood beside her in the Yellowstone Command Center. "Overconfidence," the Admiral replied. "They've done this so many times with other species that they've become careless." Colonel Harris approached with a tablet. "General, we've identified a pattern in their shield modulation. There's a 3-second vulnerability when they switch from defensive to offensive posture. Can the Thunderhead exploit that?" Captain Winters confirms they can. They've already updated their targeting systems. Olivia nodded. "Tell him to stand by. As soon as Lieutenant Commander Wright gives the signal, we move." On the Hegemony command ship, the demonstration concluded with a final flourish as the 7 warships aligned in battle formation, facing the direction of Earth. "Ambassador," Zortak turned to the human delegation. "Now let us discuss the terms of Earth's integration into the hegemony." "Integration?" Captain Daniels asked, though he already knew what was coming. "Yes," the ambassador said, all pretense of diplomacy fading from his voice. "Your planet has resources we find valuable. Your species shows potential as laborers and soldiers. Under our guidance, humans might achieve Tier 6 status within a century or 2. High Commander Kuv moved closer. "The terms are simple. Earth will submit to hegemony control. We will establish bases on your planet. Your governments will answer to our appointed governor. In exchange, you receive our protection and limited access to some of our technology." "And if we refuse?" Alan asked, knowing full well what the answer would be. The alien commander's eyes narrowed. "Refusal is not an option. Look at our warships, human. A small fraction of our fleet could reduce your cities to ash. We detected no significant defensive capabilities in your system. Earth has no means to resist." Captain Daniels straightened his back. "I see. Then you leave us no choice." "Wise decision," Ambassador Zortak said, misunderstanding the captain's meaning. "Your formal surrender will be recorded and transmitted to the Hegemony Council." "I didn't say we would surrender," Captain Daniels clarified. His voice had changed, taking on a harder edge. "I said you leave us no choice but to reveal our true capabilities." The aliens looked confused. Ambassador Zortak laughed, the sound like grinding metal. "True capabilities? We have thoroughly scanned your system. You have no hidden weapons, no secret fleet." Alan stepped forward. "That's where you're wrong, Ambassador. You see, humans have a long history of preparing for the worst while hoping for the best." He touched his insignia, sending the final signal to Earth. "Protocol Thunderhead. Execute." For a moment, nothing happened. The aliens looked at each other, amusement clear in their expressions. Then space itself seemed to ripple near the moon. The distortion spread, growing larger until it revealed the massive form of the Thunderhead. The human battleship was enormous, easily 4 times the size of the largest hegemony vessel. Its hull was sleek and black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. More distortions appeared, revealing 26 more warships of similar design. They formed a perfect crescent formation, weapons systems visibly powering up. The alien delegation rushed to the viewport, expressions of shock and disbelief replacing their earlier arrogance. Impossible, High Commander Kuv gasped. Our sensors detected nothing. From the vicinity of Neptune, 15 more human warships appeared, moving at speeds that seemed to defy the laws of physics as understood by the hegemony. Alan allowed himself a small smile of satisfaction as he watched the aliens shock. Stealth, technology, Ambassador. We've been developing it for decades, ever since we recovered a crashed scout ship in the Arctic. A scout ship? Ambassador Zortak's silver skin seemed to pale. That ship was lost 50 of your Earth years ago. It was on a mission to evaluate your planet for potential colonization. We know, Captain Daniels said calmly. We found its records. We learned about the hegemony and your habit of conquering less advanced civilizations. So we prepared. A communication channel opened, and Captain Kyle Winter's image appeared on the main screen of the hegemony vessel. The bridge of the Thunderhead was visible behind him, a marvel of advanced technology that clearly matched or exceeded hegemony capabilities. This is Captain Kyle Winters of the Earth Defense Fleet, he announced formally. Your ships are currently targeted by our weapons systems. We request an immediate revision to the proposed terms of Earth's relationship with the galactic hegemony. High Commander Kuv was frantically consulting a datapad. Their vessels are generating energy signatures unlike anything in our database. How is this possible? Humans shouldn't have this technology for at least another century. Alan looked the alien commander straight in his large black eyes. There's something you should understand about humans, Commander. We don't like bullies, and we don't respond well to threats. The balance of power had shifted in an instant. The hegemony's attempted colonization had just encountered something they had never expected, a species that had outsmarted them at their own game. Silence filled the observation deck of the hegemony command ship. The alien delegation stared out at the massive human fleet that had appeared seemingly from nowhere. Their expressions shifted from shock to fear as they realized the situation had completely changed. This is impossible, Ambassador Zortak whispered, his silver skin losing its shine. We scanned your entire system. There were no vessels of this size. Phase-shifting technology, Alan Wright explained, enjoying the moment. Our ships exist partially in another dimension until they're needed. No conventional sensors can detect them. High Commander Kov was frantically issuing orders through his communication device. The 7 hegemony warships that had been performing their demonstration near Jupiter were now moving into defensive positions. I wouldn't, Captain Daniels warned. Those vessels are already targeted by our fleet. Any aggressive move would be unwise. The main screen on the observation deck flickered to life again. This time, it showed Admiral Patricia Diaz, Earth's true diplomatic representative. She had transported aboard the Thunderhead and now stood on its bridge beside Captain Winters. This is Admiral Patricia Diaz of the Earth Defense Alliance, she announced formally. I am authorized to negotiate on behalf of Earth's united governments. Ambassador Zortak seemed to regain some of his composure. Admiral, this display changes nothing. The hegemony controls thousands of worlds. The ships you see here represent a tiny fraction of our military strength. We're well aware of the hegemony's capabilities, Ambassador, Admiral Diaz replied calmly. But consider this. If we can hide a fleet of this size in our own system without your knowledge, what else might we be capable of? The implied threat wasn't lost on the aliens. High Commander Kuv had stopped issuing orders and was now studying the human vessels with new respect. Perhaps, the squid-like commander said slowly, we should reconsider the terms of Earth's relationship with the hegemony. On the bridge of the Thunderhead, Captain Kyle Winters watched the exchange with satisfaction. The massive battleship hummed with power around him. Years of preparation had led to this moment. Shields at full strength, reported his tactical officer. All weapons systems locked on hegemony targets. Maintain current status, Kyle ordered. Let's give the diplomats time to talk. Commander Diane Russell approached with a datapad. Sir, we're receiving communications from the other alien vessels in the system. They're requesting clarification of our intentions. Transmit standard diplomatic package, Kyle replied. Make it clear that we have no hostile intent unless provoked. Back on the Hegemony command ship, negotiations had begun in earnest. The conference room atmosphere had changed dramatically, where once the aliens had looked down on the humans with contempt, now they spoke as equals. Earth demands recognition as a Tier 3 civilization at minimum, Admiral Diaz stated firmly from the view screen. We will maintain complete sovereignty over our system. No hegemony bases will be established on Earth or any of our colonies without express permission. Ambassador Zortak conferred quietly with the other alien representatives before responding. The Council might consider Tier 4 status, with certain restrictions on human expansion beyond your solar system. Unacceptable, Captain Daniels said flatly. We've studied the hegemony classification system from the records we recovered. Earth qualifies as Tier 3 by your own standards. Alan Wright added, our stealth technology alone exceeds Tier 4 capabilities, not to mention our faster-than-light drive systems, which I notice are more efficient than your own. The aliens looked surprised at this assessment. High Commander Kuv leaned forward. How did you develop these technologies so quickly? Even with a recovered scout ship, the advances you've made should have taken centuries. Alan smiled. Humans are good at adaptation, Commander. When faced with a threat, we innovate rapidly. In the Yellowstone Command Center, General Olivia Reeves and Admiral Susan Grant monitored the negotiations via secure communication link. The massive screens showed views from multiple perspectives, the Thunderhead, the EAS Horizon, and even some hegemony vessels whose communications they had managed to hack. They're backing down, Olivia observed. The show of force is working. Susan nodded. For now, but we need to be careful. The hegemony isn't used to being challenged. They might appear to accept our terms while planning retaliation. Colonel. Harris approached with new intelligence. Admiral, we've intercepted communications between the command ship and the hegemony homeworld. They're requesting reinforcements. How long until they arrive? Susan asked. Based on the communication, at least 3 weeks. Olivia smiled grimly. Then we have 3 weeks to make sure our position is unassailable. On the alien command ship, negotiations continued. The human delegation had been joined by Admiral Diaz, who had transported over using Earth's advanced teleportation technology. Another surprise for the hegemony representatives. We propose a mutual defense treaty, the Admiral said. Earth will share certain technologies with the hegemony in exchange for recognition of our sovereign status and equal trading rights. What technologies could you possibly offer that we don't already possess? One of the alien representatives asked skeptically. In answer, Admiral Diaz activated a small device she had brought with her. A holographic display appeared, showing technical specifications for a medical system the Earth Defense Alliance had developed. Nanomedicine, she explained. Our approach to cellular repair is different from the hegemony standard. Early tests indicate it's 30% more effective at treating radiation damage. The aliens studied the display with obvious interest. Advanced as they were, the hegemony still struggled with certain medical challenges, particularly those related to deep space travel. We also have improvements to your agricultural terraforming process, Admiral Diaz continued. Our methods can reduce the time needed to make a planet habitable by nearly half. Now she had their full attention. The hegemony's expansion relied heavily on terraforming new worlds. A more efficient process would be extremely valuable to them. These technologies, Ambassador Zortak began. They were not detected in our scans of your world. Like our fleet, many of our advancements have been kept hidden, Captain Daniels explained. We needed to understand the hegemony's intentions before revealing our true capabilities. High Commander Kuv seemed to come to a decision. I will recommend to the Council that Earth be classified as a Tier 3 civilization, with all associated rights and privileges. For the first time, the alien commander extended a tentacle-like limb toward the humans in what appeared to be their version of a handshake. The hegemony has not encountered a species like yours in a very long time. Admiral Diaz stepped forward and clasped the offered appendage firmly. We hope this marks the beginning of a more equal relationship. Outside the viewport, The Earth Defense Fleet maintained its position. The massive ships hung in space, a clear reminder of humanity's unexpected strength. On the bridge of the Thunderhead, Captain Kyle Winters received word that the initial agreement had been reached. "Maintain alert status," he ordered his crew. "This is just the beginning." His executive officer looked questioning. "Sir?" Kyle's expression was serious. "The hegemony has ruled this sector for thousands of years. They won't easily accept a new power. We've won the first round, but there will be more challenges ahead." The Thunderhead's sensors detected new communications from deep space, signals from beyond hegemony territory. It seemed other civilizations had noticed the sudden appearance of Earth's fleet and were curious about this new player in galactic politics. The galaxy was changing. Humanity had announced its presence not as a subject race, but as a force to be reckoned with. And the ripples of that announcement were just beginning to spread. 1 week after the dramatic reveal of Earth's hidden fleet, a formal treaty signing ceremony took place aboard the Thunderhead. The massive human vessel had been transformed for the occasion. The bridge, normally a center of military operations, now served as a diplomatic hall with representatives from Earth and the hegemony gathered around a large circular table. Admiral Patricia Diaz sat across from Ambassador Zortak. Both were flanked by advisors and officers from their respective sides. The tension of the previous days had eased somewhat, replaced by cautious respect. "The final treaty is ready for review," Admiral Diaz announced, activating the holographic display in the center of the table. The document appeared, rotating slowly so all could see it. "Earth will be recognized as a Tier 3 civilization with all rights and protections under hegemony law," she summarized. "We maintain complete sovereignty over our solar system and any colonies we establish. In exchange, we will share our advancements in medical nanotechnology and agricultural terraforming methods." Ambassador Zortak reviewed the document carefully. His silver skin had regained some of its shine as he had adjusted to the new reality. "The terms are acceptable," he finally stated. "The Hegemony Council has authorized me to sign on their behalf." Captain Kyle Winters watched from his position at the side of the room. The past week had been filled with intense negotiations, shows of force, and careful diplomacy. Now it seemed they had finally reached an agreement that both sides could live with. "Has the ambassador shared information about the other signals we detected?" Kyle asked quietly as he stood next to Alan Wright. Alan nodded. "Apparently there are several non-hegemony civilizations that have been watching these events with great interest. Some have already reached out to establish separate diplomatic channels with Earth." "Potential allies?" "Maybe. The hegemony isn't loved by everyone in this sector of the galaxy. Their methods of integration have made them many enemies. On Earth, the news of the treaty was being shared with the general population for the first time. For 50 years, only a select group of military and political leaders had known about the crashed alien ship and humanity's secret preparations. Now, as the treaty was signed, the truth was finally being revealed. General Olivia Reeves stood in the Yellowstone Command Center, watching the global reaction on the many screens. Some people were afraid, others excited. Many were simply shocked to learn that humans had been preparing for this moment for decades. "How are they taking it?" Admiral Susan Grant asked as she joined Olivia. "Better than we expected," Olivia replied. "The images of our fleet seem to have reassured most people. Knowing we can defend ourselves has prevented panic. And the other governments? All on board. The Earth Defense Alliance has representatives from every nation. This has always been a unified human effort, not just one country's project." Susan nodded with satisfaction. "Exactly as it should be." Back on the Thunderhead, the treaty signing had concluded. Ambassador Zortak touched his hand to a special pad that recorded his biological signature. Admiral Diaz did the same for Earth. "It is done," the ambassador announced. "Earth is now officially recognized as a Tier 3 civilization within the galactic hegemony." The mood in the room lightened considerably. Human and alien representatives began to mingle, sharing information more freely now that the formal agreement was in place. High Commander Kuv approached Captain Winters. The squid-like alien moved with a new caution that hadn't been present during their first meeting. Your vessels are most impressive, Captain, the commander said. I would be interested to learn more about your phase-shifting technology. Kyle smiled diplomatically. Perhaps in time, Commander. There are still many things our civilizations need to learn about each other first. The alien seemed to understand the polite refusal. Of course, trust must be earned. I respect that. Across the room, Alan Wright was engaged in conversation with a crystalline being from one of the other hegemony member species. This alien, unlike the others, had shown genuine curiosity about humans from the beginning. Your adaptation rate is remarkable, the crystal being said, its voice resonating like chimes. Most species take centuries to develop the technologies you've mastered in mere decades. Necessity drives innovation, Alan replied. When we found the crashed scout ship and learned about the hegemony's practices, we knew we had to prepare quickly. The hegemony has grown complacent, the alien said, its crystalline structure shifting colors slightly. Many of us have argued for reform, but change comes slowly to a civilization that spans thousands of worlds. Perhaps Earth's emergence will help catalyze that change. The crystal being's colors brightened. That is my hope as well. As the diplomatic reception continued, Admiral Diaz received an urgent communication. She excused herself from her conversation with Ambassador Zortak and moved to a private corner of the room. Admiral, this is Colonel Harris at Yellowstone Control. We've detected an unusual transmission directed at the Thunderhead. It's not from any hegemony source. What kind of transmission? Diaz asked quietly. A communication request, but encrypted, in a method we've never seen before. It's coming from beyond hegemony space. Diaz frowned. Can you decrypt it? Working on it now. But there's something else. The transmission included a small data packet that our systems could read. It contains coordinates for a meeting location and a single message. Not all who watch the hegemony approve of their methods. There are others. The Admiral's expression turned thoughtful. It seems we've attracted attention beyond the hegemony. Keep working on the full decryption. I'll return to Earth once the ceremonies here are complete. When she rejoined the gathering, Admiral Diaz maintained her diplomatic composure, but her mind was racing with the implications. Earth had successfully established itself as a power in the hegemony. But this was just the beginning. There were other forces at play in the galaxy, and humanity had just stepped onto a much larger stage. Captain Winters noticed the Admiral's expression and moved to her side. Problem? Not necessarily, she replied quietly. But it seems our emergence has attracted attention from beyond hegemony space. We may have potential allies, or new challenges. Kyle nodded. I always suspected that standing up to the hegemony would have ripple effects. The galaxy is a much more complex place than we imagined, Admiral Diaz said. The crashed scout ship gave us technology and warning about the hegemony, but there's clearly much more to learn. Earth is ready, Kyle stated with confidence. We've proven we can adapt and prepare. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. As the diplomatic reception wound down, the Earth representatives prepared to return to their home planet. Their first major encounter with galactic civilization had ended far better than many had feared. Instead of subjugation, they had achieved recognition. Instead of becoming a hegemony colony, Earth was now a respected power. The massive ships of the Earth Defense Fleet remained on alert, a visible reminder of humanity's unexpected strength. But now they represented not just military power but diplomatic potential as well. The journey to the stars had truly begun, and somewhere beyond hegemony space, unknown watchers were preparing to make contact with the newest player in the galactic game. Humanity's future among the stars was just beginning to unfold.